Alright guys, here's a video on how to do your load levelers. Each load leveler is different, and I will say that. I've had them where, like on the deck of the trailer, you'll have a J-hook rail, and the load leveler's got a J-hook welded to it, and they'll sit in the J-hook rail. But these are pocket levelers, and so you don't necessarily have to use a chain on them. You could actually let the weight of the load sit on top of these and they'll stay depending on what you're hauling. I prefer to just throw a chain on them, just so that way that's added extra security that these things ain't going to move back and forth while going down the road and cause your load to shift. So you see this chain's loose right here, but if you look right here, see that little slot right there for the chain to sit in? You put your chain there and you go over here, grab a hold of the binder, it ain't loose. And so each load leveler's a little bit different as far as the load rating on them. You know, their crush rating. Like mine, they say do not exceed 20,000 pounds on them. Which I have crushed a load leveler before, almost. I had the feet of it start collapsing before. Luckily I didn't lose the load. You know, it's all stuff you learn, you know, when you go from a flatbed to a step deck. You know, it's all about learning. If you don't learn something from your mistakes you make, then you ain't doing something right. So right here where it says do not exceed 20,000 pounds maximum per axle, okay, that's just saying, you know, you can't put, you know, 20,000 pounds on each axle of your spread. But here's where you gotta concentrate on here is at the 96-inch mark, 20,000 pound spread load, or at a 12. These things can hold 8,000 pounds at a 12-foot concentrated load. I'm at 96 foot, but so whenever you spread these things out across your trailer, I got another load I did with them. So I had a load of irrigation pipeline, a load of irrigation. I had my load leveler put here, and I want to say I had my other one put right here on this trailer, and I had them spread out. I don't think the irrigation pipe was that heavy, but if you're loading heavy, you got to pay attention to it, because the way I always do it is I set the load down on it first to see what my load levelers are going to do, whether they're going to support the entire weight of the load from the top deck. You know, like let's say I got one here, you know, and then I've got one here, you know, I set the load out on top of them to see what it's going to do, if they're going to start sagging or bowing, and then if they do start that, I'll unload the load again, reposition them to where you know, you can get it right. But sometimes, you know, with owning a used trailer, you know, I bought this trailer, you know, you can't quite get them in every pocket, so you got to do what you got to do, you know. Like, let's see here. Like this one, for instance, where it's got that weld right there. I can't get a load leveler in that. such as like this one right here. I can't get a load leveler in it. So yeah, it's just fine-tuning stuff that I got to do to get this trailer to where it'll do it. But this trailer came with the load levelers. I haven't had this one, but I don't know. I bought it my birthday, which was February 10th, and haven't really pulled it. It's been in the shop. I've only pulled a total of 7 loads with it, because we had to rebuild the 5th wheel plate on this trailer, and all that. So you can see I rebuilt the 5th wheel plate. It's got 3/8 inch thick angle iron and a 3/8 inch thick 5th wheel plate. And this thing is stout. I've loaded loads on this thing that I thought were gonna, you know, make this 5th wheel plate bow, and it hasn't yet. But on these Transcrafts, when they were built from the factory, they didn't bring the 5th wheel plate out as far as I did. So like, they would only cover half of your frame rail on your main beam with your 5th wheel plate, whereas I extended it out to where it'll cover 3/4 of your main beam on your frame rail, so that way you can, you know, get a little bit more support out of the 5th wheel plate with the trailer. So that way the 5th wheel plate can support more of the load versus the trailer and all of that. And it's still set at the factory kingpin setting, which I believe was a 20-inch kingpin setting. So, you know, my 5th wheel goes all the way up underneath there. Like, I've pulled some step decks where the front of the step deck was right there at the front of my 5th wheel. So, but yeah, this is my 2003 model steel frame aluminum combo Transcraft. This is the first step deck that I've bought, and I gotta say, I love it. The versatility that I have with this trailer versus hauling a flatbed is there. Right here I've got the space to add ramps in right there, so I'm gonna put ramps in. I'm gonna get rid of those load levelers eventually. But I'm gonna move that box forward and put it up here by the V-board rack, and then I'm gonna add ramps right back here. So it'll be pretty well set up. And with your ramps, you can actually use your ramps as load levelers as well. And this is an unusual trailer. I ain't never seen one of these before. This is a step deck, but it's got a step down in it. I was gonna ask the driver about that. What is that for? So I knew if I ever decided to buy a newer trailer, you know, maybe spec it to where it had that in it. That just looks like that's built for hauling more equipment than what I'm set up for. Plus he's got the super low with the 17.5s, and you can tell the height difference of his trailer compared to mine with the 22.5s. I mean, you can tell my trailer sits up quite a few feet higher than his. So makes me wonder if his trailer's set up for hauling, you know, big equipment and everything, and you can see the height difference off of his frame to the ground versus my frame to the ground. So this guy could probably, I want to say, probably put 12-foot tall loads on this trailer and not be over height easily. Probably go 12 foot going east coast and probably 13 foot coming out to the west. That's pretty cool though. I ain't never seen a step deck like that. I just noticed that, so if I see him sometime today, I'm gonna ask him that. Let's see, like, he's got HD ramps on his. Doesn't say what they're rated for, but it says don't exceed, okay, yeah, 23,500 pounds per ramp. So he could load, let's see, a piece of equipment that weighs 47,000 pounds on just those two ramps right there. And yeah, that's pretty cool, because each ramp, you know, so 47,000 pound piece of equipment, you can drive that right up that on them two ramps, no problem. But the risers, I wonder if he's got them, if he's got the dual ramp kit or if he's got a single. Be something interesting to see. Yep, he's got the dual ramp kit. But yeah, Donen makes a good trailer. I just ain't looked into buying one yet. We gotta make this one make plenty of money to buy a newer step deck. But what I paid for this one and what I got into it, you can't argue with it. It's a dang good looking trailer. It's a dang nice trailer. Just the only problem is these 48s, they ain't worth a whole lot. Not everybody wants a 48. 48s are starting to become obsolete because everything's going over to the 53s. So 53s, you can put a little bit more material on them and they're a little bit heavier. That one there to my right here is an all aluminum, and he's got 17 5s on it. No, 19 5s on it, looks like. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. Load levelers. So you put a chain, you hook your chain. This will be loose if you hook to like one of your chain pockets. This will be loose right here if you hook to like one of your chain pop outs. But I mean, that's tight. That ain't going nowhere. And then another thing that DOT keep you out of trouble with the DOT is if you can't pull that chain out of that, they can't say it's an unsecured, it's unsecured to the trailer. So like, I can't even get that chain out. I can't even move it hardly. So, and then you put one pulling to the rear, one pulling to the front. That way it keeps it from moving side to side, front to back. Well, my pockets will keep it from side to side, but keeps it from moving back, front to back and everything going down the road. Anyways, that's how you secure a load leveler on my trailer.